All right. At events in New Hampshire and South Carolina this morning, Mitt Romney and Rick Perry are drawing sharp contrast through their experience.
Public service is an honorable thing, whether it's wearing the uniform of our country or whether it's serving like Tim does in Congress.
I know something about building and turning things around. I spent my life in the private sector solving real problems.
David Drucker is a staff writer for Roll Call, and Russell Berman is a congressional reporter for The Hill. Both join me now. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Good to be here.
All right, David, let's go ahead and start with you. These guys couldn't be more different. Perry, a career politician. Romney saying that he couldn't be further from a career politician. So are their strengths, in some respects, the same as their weaknesses?
Well, yeah, I think both candidates are going to present strengths and weaknesses in the race, and it just sort of depends on what GOP primary voters are looking for. If you take a look at Romney, he has private sector experience. That can play well in an economy like this, particularly with Republicans completely unhappy with the Obama administration and with the entire country unhappy with the unemployment situation and sluggish economic growth. And in a general election scenario, that might give Romney a leg up if you're looking at it that way. On the other hand, you have Rick Perry, who's an experienced governor, a chief executive of a pretty much successful conservative state. Job creation in Texas compared to the rest of the nation has been pretty darn good. And he can run on that and also run on the idea that we tried somebody with minimal executive experience, with minimal government experience, and maybe it didn't go so well. And so I think it's going to be how these two position themselves in terms of being general election candidates and how much electability weighs in, as well as just their personal appeal.
All right. In the meantime, we are looking at pictures of President Obama there stepping down from Air Force One. He is in Michigan right now. He's going to be previewing his ideas for jobs and economic growth, if you will. He's going to be speaking to thousands of labor union workers there in Michigan. Again, as soon as the president starts speaking, we're going to bring his remarks live to you. 1:15 Eastern is the time that's going to happen. Sorry, let's go ahead and get back to Russell Berman, who is a congressional reporter for The Hill. And we're talking about the differences between Romney and Perry. The contrast just as much their personalities. Perry, Russell, the Texas cowboy. Romney is a little bit more even-keeled. Does that kind of separate them even more in voters' minds?
Yeah, it does. It presents a very stark contrast. The problem potentially for Rick Perry is that he's going to remind voters of George W. Bush with the cowboy boots, the Texas swagger, and it remains to be seen if that's what they want. Polls have shown that even as they're not supportive of President Obama on the economy, they still blame the Bush administration for a lot of the economic woes that the country is suffering through right now. And so Mitt Romney could provide more of a contrast, at least in personality and tone, from the Bush era, and maybe a steadier hand at the head of the ship.
And in the meantime, how do you think he's being received there in South Carolina, Mitt Romney?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how he performs in this forum. He was originally going to skip that event with Jim DeMint and actually changed his mind after Rick Perry got into the race. Now Rick Perry is not going to be there, so it's going to give Mitt Romney an opportunity to really perform in front of South Carolina voters. You remember that he did not win there in 2008, so he's going to look to improve this year.
David, let's take the conversation back over to you and what we can expect to see Wednesday night. Obviously the candidates, they might be taking swings at the president, criticizing his handling of the economy, but also maybe taking swings at each other. How do you think this is all going to play out on Wednesday?
Well, it'll be interesting. I think both Mitt Romney and Rick Perry are going to try and steer clear of messing around with the other candidates on the stage and focus their attention on Barack Obama. Although Rick Perry has taken some swipes at Mitt Romney and vice versa, I think they're both well served to focus on the president and play the role in a sense of front-runner headed towards the general election. I think you'll see the other candidates, particularly Michelle Bachmann, try and catch some fire there, and I think they're going to have to train their sights, if you will, at the two front runners, and Rick Perry is now sort of number one front runner and Mitt Romney number two front runner. So it could be a bit electric, but I think that you're not going to see Rick Perry and Mitt Romney mix it up together. At least I don't think that will be their plan. It could happen, but I expect both of them to try and focus on the president.
And Russell, let's quickly get your thoughts. What do you think?
Well, it's going to be a big test for Rick Perry, his first time on the stage with the other candidates this Wednesday. And I think David's right. I think you might see Michelle Bachmann go after him. It'll be very interesting to see whether Mitt Romney does as well.
All right. We appreciate you guys breaking it down, giving us the play-by-play. A big thanks to you, David Drucker, also Russell Berman. As we mentioned, Rick Perry makes his debut in the Republican presidential debate at